Two Geeks, Two Beers. Episode 73, Space Jam.
It's a film moviegoers have waited over 60 years to see. The greatest basketball player of all time, paired with the most popular collection of cartoon characters. Toss in Ivan Reitman, Hollywood's most successful comedy producer, and revolutionary computer animation, and you have Space Jam.
Well, hello, and welcome to Two Geeks, Two Beers with me, Tom, and my fellow, I'm assuming, never good at basketball pal, Morgan.
Correct. Well, one time at school, I had to face another school kid in a one-on-one basketball game because that was the kind of psychological cruelty that our PE teachers inflicted on us. And we both leapt onto the court. I got the ball, shot, and it just did like an incredible three-pointer, and it went into the basket, and everyone cheered, and it was amazing.
Highlight of your life?
Definitely one of the highlights of my life, but like pure luck, no skill involved whatsoever. But yes, hello.
I found that a lot of my PE teachers growing up were surprisingly fat, which makes no sense. I never understood that. I mean, how did they get the job? Anyway, this time I'm taking on a classic 90s movie that sounds like it was thought up during like a big pub crawl by the time of the 6th pub and 9 pints in. It is 1996's Space Jam. So, have you seen Space Jam?
Oh, you're asking me.
I am asking you.
Yes, I saw it at the time. I rewatched it ahead of recording this, and it's strange because now you're so used to the idea of Space Jam as a concept that Michael Jordan, the NBA star, the NBA legend, teams up with the Looney Tunes to take on some aliens in a basketball game. You're like, yeah, Space Jam. It's Space Jam. But there were a few times watching it back, and I caught myself, and I was like, "What the fuck is?
What is going on? Yeah, how did they approve it in the boardroom meeting? How did this come up? And they went, "Yeah, that's the one."
Such an odd concept. It is definitely an acid trip of a movie.
Did you at the time / do you know much about Michael Jordan as a British man?
I did not know a great deal about Michael Jordan. I knew vaguely who he was. I knew he was a big basketball star. Yeah. And that's about the extent of my knowledge now. I know there was a very informative and insightful documentary on Netflix recently, The Last Dance, which I did not watch. So I know as little about him now as I did then. In fact, one of the main things I know about Michael Jordan is that he was in Space Jam.
Space Jam. Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I have watched The Last Dance on Netflix and thoroughly recommend it. It's very good. But before that, again, aware that Michael Jordan was a big sports star in America, but it's a classic example of America thinking that the whole world is obsessed with them, which they are to an extent. But it's like Michael Jordan outside of America, you know, in the UK, especially in the 90s without the internet, you didn't know, like we all know who LeBron James is now because of, like, I'd say the internet and social media. You see articles and stuff, but in the mid 90s when you didn't have that, like I don't know how you would know much about Michael Jordan as a British kid growing up, unless you were weirdly really into your basketball. And so they just sort of it's like if we did a film starring Ronnie O'Sullivan in the 90s and just assumed that all of America would watch it.
Do you know what? If they made a film where Ronnie O'Sullivan played snooker with the Looney Tunes, if the whole world did not embrace that movie, I would be furious because that sounds like a great watch.
I don't want to slag off America too much, but it's that thing of
another thing about fucking America.
What I find funny is that like a lot of their sports, they always call them world champions when it's only them taking part. So it's like the Major League Baseball. It's like the World Series. So if they win it, they're world champions of the world. It's like, yeah, but did anyone else from any other country take part? No. All right.
America is the world.
You win the FA Cup. Yeah, world champions of football, but you're not there, are you? Anyway, so yeah, I mean, watching The Last Dance made me realise just how huge Michael Jordan was in the 90s. Like, in America, he was like the biggest sports star there was.
But having said that, still, like, it's a very special case because no one ever suggested, let's make a film starring David Beckham, where he plays a game of soccer with the Looney Tunes. That never came up. So I hope you will shed some light on exactly how this came together and why.
I'll try. So, in case you didn't know, Space Jam, directed by Joe Pytka, it was only one of two original feature films that Pytka did. The first was the Richard Dreyfuss and Robbie Coltrane vehicle, Let It Ride, from 1989. I
mean, we're all aware of that classic of the genre.
Other than that, he is best known for his work in commercials and music videos. He did several projects with Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Madonna, and Michael Jackson. He directed the videos for The Way You Make Me Feel and Dirty Diana. And he also did the Free as a Bird video by the Beatles when they did that reunion in the 90s. But this is the last film that Pytka did.
Killed his career.
Yeah. So the concept of this movie originated from a series of popular Nike. Do you say Nike or Nike?
I say Nike, but I have no idea which is correct.
I say Nike as well. So highly popular Nike ads, which featured Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan facing off against Marvin the Martian and his alien henchman in basketball. So I didn't know this existed.
No, but this makes a lot of sense because if someone pitched an advert where they go, it's an advert where Michael Jordan teams up with Bugs Bunny, you're like, great idea for an advert. Someone goes, let's make that into a feature film. You're like, whoa, back up a little bit. We're just selling Nike trainers here.
Yeah, in the 90s, Michael Jordan just did adverts for all sorts of things. He had his Air Jordan sneakers, as you say in America. And so doing an advert with the Looney Tunes didn't sound, he just did everything. So why not? Would you like to see said advert?
I would love to see it. Is this like the unofficial prequel to Space Jam?
It is, technically.
Yeah. Turbocharged prelude.
Peter Rabbit, is he sleep around here? What's all the racket? What's up? Woodchuck! I was only kidding. Gruesome, ain't it? Of course you know this means war. Air Jordan and Air Jordan.
What'd you expect? Elmer Fudd?
Nice shot.
Nice shot.
This floors him every time. Yoo-hoo! Nice shot. This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
That's all, folks.
Well, that's my line.
Wow. And someone watched that and went, right, get me a feature film.
Yeah. We should say, what was your relationship with the Looney Tunes growing up?
First of all, I'm just noticing that you say Looney Tunes.
Well, it is Tunes. It is Tunes.
What? Tunes?
It's spelled Tunes. This blew my mind. I'm glad your mind is blown.
This is a Mandela effect situation.
It's not Looney Tunes. We only say it's only Tunes because America says Tunes instead of Tunes. It's just the way they pronounce it.
But they're cartoons.
No, it's a play on words. So they made it. I looked this up the other day. So what it was is they wanted. It was a company. Well, Warner Brothers, I assume. They wanted funny animations to go alongside their music that they made for the various things, and so they came up with characters like Bugs Bunny, and they called them the Looney Tunes, and then they just became a thing.
You're right. I just googled it, and it's Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah. What's your relationship with the Tunes?
Yeah, I mean, loved them as a kid. Although looking back now, my God, Bugs Bunny's annoying.
Oh yeah, he's a dick as well. He's horrible. I'm always on the side of Yosemite Sam or Elmer Fudd or whatever.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Big fan of all the characters. Daffy and Bugs at the time.
Porky.
Porky Pig. Porky Pig was a particular favourite.
But this is where it is confusing because I was a huge fan of growing up the Tiny Toon adventures.
Yeah,
but you called them the Tiny Toons, but there actually was spelt Toons. It wasn't Tiny Tunes, so that's why it's confusing.
At least be consistent.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, so Space Jam stars. Michael Jordan. It presents a fictionalized account of what happened between Jordan's initial retirement from the NBA in 1993 and his 1995 comeback, in which he is enlisted by the Looney Tunes to help them win a basketball match against a group of aliens who intend to enslave them as attractions in their theme park.
Now, this might sound like a stupid question, but to what extent is Space Jam based on fact? In terms of, did Michael Jordan really take a temporary retirement from basketball and try to become a baseball player? Because this is literally how much I know. I don't know if that's how little I know. I don't know if that's
when
true.
I watched Space Jam as a kid, I thought the whole the baseball thing was obviously just a silly plot device in the film. But no, he really did do that. So so growing up, as a kid, he was really into his baseball. That's what he wanted to get into, and he used to play it with his dad. Hence the bit at the beginning with his dad, played by
Bilkins.
Yeah, from Fast and
Furious. Yeah. Something that will only please me and you, fans of Space Jam and the Fast and Furious franchise.
But in around 1993, at this point, I think he'd won a championship. I think he's won 3 championships actually. He's one of the biggest stars, but his dad got murdered horribly. He just got shot in his car,
as opposed to getting murdered nicely. Yeah,
yeah. And his dad was, his best friend and all that, and so he decided, I've had another basketball. I'm going to go to my roots and play baseball. And he did that for a bit, and he wasn't bad. Apparently, he was pretty good. But this still made him look like he was shit.
This is it, because I assumed it was fictional, mostly because in the film he's terrible at baseball. So it's presented as this absurd idea. God, imagine if incredible basketball star Michael Jordan, he played baseball instead and was terrible at it. But it's something he actually did.
Yeah, well, he only played in like minor leagues, but the people in the documentary were saying that if he kept going the way he was going, he probably would have been pro eventually. But
just great at everything. Michael Jordan can turn his hand to anything.
But there was a baseball strike at some point in the mid-90s, and because of that, he sort of started playing basketball again with his mates, and it just convinced him to come back to basketball eventually. So I like the idea that because this was made after he'd already come back to basketball.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that they were right. Let's come up with a funny thing of what he got up to in that time, and this is it. So here is the trailer then. To get you in the mood of Space Jam.
When the world's greatest athlete, Michael Jordan, teams up with the world's best-loved cartoon character, Bugs Bunny, you won't believe your eyes.
Pardon me, Mr. Jordan. Could I have your your John Hancock?
What's going on here?
We need your help!
You heard of the Dream Team? Well, we're the Mean Team.
Ready?
Yeah! Doc.
Yeah.
You kick it in here. You go to the hole and dominate. We on defense.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. I don't play defense.
Warner Brothers presents Jordan.
Bugs
Bunny.
Special delivery!
Together, they just might save the world. Space Jam. You've never seen anything like it.
You've never seen anything like it.
No, you really haven't. And although my memories of Space Jam, or at least prior to that, the rewatch I did recently, were quite fuzzy, that trailer I have like crystal clear recollection of. I think it must have been on a VHS at the start of a VHS that I watched a lot as a kid. Probably something like Batman Forever. And so I guess I would never fast forward the Space Jam trailer. Loved it.
And one other thing, because it was the 90s, if you remember in our Air Bud episode, or our Freaky Franchises 2, every single trailer in the 90s had, "Are you ready for this?" by 2 Unlimited. Every single time. Every time. Any sort of sports-related film.
Never got bored of it, though. Never got bored of it.
So what made me laugh, though, watching this, is the intro, which sort of sets up, if in case you didn't know who Michael Jordan was, it's quite handy, because it sort of showed his career up until that point. It lasted over 3 minutes.
I made a note of that on my phone. Goes on so long, the introduction.
Far too long. And the music, the Space Jam song, whether it was, isn't the best. And it goes on because it plays the entire song. It's like, oh, come on, this is James Bond.
The fact the fact that we both independently came to that same conclusion suggests that is a problem.
So the plot then, what there is of it, in outer space, the amusement park Moron Mountain faces decline. Its owner, Mr. Swackhammer, voiced by Danny DeVito, sends his minions, the Nerdlucks. I love that he calls them the Nerdlucks. It's just obviously anyone small and dweeby, just calls them the Nerdlucks.
I mean, he's not the best at branding because he also called his theme park Moron Mountain, and then he's like, "Why is my theme park in decline?" Because you call it Moron Mountain. Like, who's going to go to that willingly? Come on.
So he sends his minions to Earth to abduct the Looney Tunes as a new attraction, obviously. So upon the Nerdlucks' arrival, Bugs Bunny and the other Looney Tunes take advantage of the Nerdlucks' small stature and challenge them to a game of basketball.
One thing I didn't understand fully about this is the Nerdlucks arrive and they attempt to enslave the Looney Tunes, and the Looney Tunes present them with some kind of rule book which they've they've scrawled on and they've changed what it says inside, and they say, oh, well, now it says you have to give us a shot at freedom, and the Nerdlucks say, okay, I guess we've got to play by the rules. Why didn't the Looney Tunes just write whatever they want in this rule book and just say, nah, you have to let us go? They make a very, very specific change, which means they still have to enter into a basketball game with their alien adversaries. But
then from then on, why don't they keep adding more rules?
If they're going to change the rules, they could change them. Why limit yourself? Change it to whatever you like. Just say, oh no, it means if we score this one 3-pointer, which is the only basketball term I know, then we immediately win the game. Why just make that one small change?
Or just get in the flood to kill them.
I'm starting to think that the logic of Space Jam doesn't entirely hold up.
No, it doesn't really, does it? Yeah.
Not so fast, Doc. You just can't turn us into slaves. That would be bad. You've got to give us a chance to defend ourselves. Oh, yeah? Who says?
Yes, who? Why?
Just a sec. Read them and wait, boys.
Give them a chance to defend themselves.
Do we have to?
It's in the rule book.
It is.
Okay, it is in the rule book. Uno momento.
Well, the Nerdlucks soon realise that the sport's best players are actually employed by the NBA and accept the proposal. So after stealing the talents, don't ask how, of NBA players Charles Barkley, Sean Bradley, Patrick Ewing, Larry Johnson, and Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy Bogues?
Well, I think it's Bogues, but I prefer Bogues.
All of whom I am presuming are genuine
all real
NBA
players,
stars. I don't know anything about the NBA, but they were not great actors, so I'm assuming they were real basketball stars.
Well, Michael Jordan did a decent job for his.
Do you know what? Michael Jordan is actually pretty good in this film. As live action actors interacting with cartoons go.
Yeah.
Is it as good as Hoskins in Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yeah. No. But very few performances are as good as that in any genre. But I think Jordan acquits himself pretty well.
Hi, I'm Michael Jordan, and I got to know Bugs pretty well doing our movie Space Jam. Boy, what a life this guy has. He had the usual tough breaks. Small house, large family. And I mean, large family. You know, rabbits. But he's always had confidence in himself, even back in those early years. No,
it's never fully explained, is it, how the Nerdlucks can steal the player's talent, turn it into goo, store it in a basketball, and then for some reason it turns them into gigantic monsters.
They suddenly turn into these large muscular monsters, which they call the Monstars, and they've now got just cool personalities, and they're great. Whereas the original basketball players are still there, but they've lost all their talent and are now a bit simple, and they're just walking about not knowing what to do. It's
a bit like in Red Dwarf when the polymorph sucks out all of Cat's cool and he turns into Dwayne
Exactly
Dibley.
That, yeah. So while golfing with Bill Murray and Larry Bird, and in case you didn't know, Larry Bird is another very famous basketball player back in the day.
So again, with the Space Jam true story, how realistic is Space Jam?
Yeah.
Was Michael Jordan actually just great mates with Bill Murray? Because that's very much the setup that's presented here. That they're best pals who golf a lot. Is that based in fact at all? Or?
No, I don't think that is true. But Bill Murray is, of course, mates with Ivan Reitman, who wrote Reitman. Space Jam, and so that's why they got him involved. Why not?
I like to think, if not true before the filming of Space Jam, it was true after that Jordan and Murray were just like drinking bros.
So while golfing with those guys, Stan, played by Wayne Knight of Jurassic Park fame and lots of other things, Jordan is suddenly lassoed down a hole and into the Looney Tunes world. So I love the fact that Bill Murray and Larry Bird just like, that happened. Let's just carry on, shall we?
Yeah, weirdly lackadaisical about the whole thing.
Yeah. But so was Michael Jordan. He gets there and it's like, this is normal. You've just been sucked underground. Who knew that Looney Tunes lived in the centre of the earth, by the way?
Yeah, that's all. I presume that's a new addition to Looney Tunes canon, that they exist in a sort of parallel world to our own, which is within the Earth's core.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those films where, Looney Tunes are real, despite the fact that we all know they're cartoons and created by someone. It's very much like Stan Lee meeting up with Spider-Man in a couple of episodes back.
Well, yeah, because everyone within the fictional world of Space Jam is aware of the Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
they watch them on their TV, so they exist in that way. But also they exist as real entities who live inside the Earth's core. So how does that work?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh, look out for that first step, Doc. It's a real Lulu.
Bugs Bunny.
You were expecting maybe the Easter Bunny?
You're a cartoon. You're not real.
Not really. If I weren't real, could I do this?
Oh, look. Is that Michael? Michael!
It's Air Jordan. Basketball.
I call. I did see Michael Jordan.
So Bugs explains the situation to Jordan, who
I wish you would explain the situation to me. Anyway, carry on.
And not phased whatsoever. Jordan just sort of carries on with it. It's fine. We should also probably bring up Lola Bunny in this film.
Has anyone here ever played basketball?
I have. I'd like to try out for the team.
Hey.
Hi, my name is Lola Bunny.
Lola?
Yes?
Hello. My name is Bugs. You want to play a little one-on-one, doll?
Doll?
Uh-huh.
On the court. Bugs.
I mean, I know you fancied Gadget from the Rescue Rangers. But I think Lola Bunny's got to be up there as well as like a...
Strangely attractive.
They knew what they were doing. They animated pretty much boobs on Lola Bunny. Didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
So Lola Bunny didn't exist before Space Jam. She was created purely for this film. But she's been, like Harley Quinn, she's been in all loads of Looney Tunes stuff ever since. So
really?
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpick with Lola Bunny. One it's one thing to fancy a cartoon character. It's another, as with Gadget and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, to fancy a humanoid animal cartoon. Also, Michael Jordan seems attracted to her, not just because obviously Bugs digs her, but Michael Jordan, Air Jordan himself is like, when he sees her, he likes a bit. He's interested in a bit of cross-species pollination. Also, the strangest thing, the weirdest thing is not that Michael Jordan fancies her; it's that Tweety Pie says she's hot. It's like Tweety Pie.
Yeah, I thought Tweety Pie was Tweety Pie a girl or a boy. I thought.
Do you know what? I'm not entirely sure, but. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about the sex drives of Looney Tunes characters. But if there's one of them that I always assumed was totally asexual, it was Tweety. I never thought Tweety had it in him or her, if I'm honest.
Got other things to worry about. Sylvester just running at him.
Yeah. Now Sylvester has big dick energy, but Tweety definitely not.
It'd be like if Roadrunner was like, "Wow, she's hot."
Meep.
Then fist bumps Wile E. Coyote. So Lola also appears in the Looney Tunes show, which was like I don't know if it's still running. It was like a new version of the show which came out in like the early 2010s, and Kristen Wiig voiced Lola Bunny in that. Just thought I'd let you know. So although Jordan is initially reluctant, he agrees to play after a confrontation with the Monstars. They insult his pride, and so he's like, right, do you know what? We're going to turn into the Toon Squad. So he sends Bugs and Daffy back to his house to obtain his basketball gear, where Stan sees them and follows them back into the cartoon world. And Michael, lets him help. Why not? It's Wayne Knight. He needs something to do, doesn't he? He
was big in the 90s, both physically and in terms of his stardom. And now much less big, again, both physically and in terms of his stardom.
Meanwhile, the sudden incapacity of the 5 NBA players leads to worldwide panic. Again, worldwide panic or just America panic? Because anyone's following NBA.
But very timely. Because the whatever illness is afflicting the NBA players, they cancel the NBA season and basketball's finished and people are furious. Very timely.
So on the day of the match, the Monstars, that made me laugh as well. The match sort of starts quite early. You think it's going to be like the climax of the film, and it's like, it's already the match.
It's like half of the film is the basketball game. Yeah.
The Monstars dominate the first half, sinking their morale. Stan overhears, though, how the Monstars obtain their talent and informs Michael Jordan. Bugs and Jordan rally the Toon Squad and dominate the third quarter using old school gags and Acme weaponry.
But do you know what? There's an odd scene in between. I don't know how basketball works. Is it rounds of basketball where they trick the other Bugs and Jordan trick the other Looney Tunes. They pass around a bottle of water and call it Michael Jordan special stuff, and all the Looney Tunes glug this down, and so they're then sort of tricked into thinking that they've ingested some amazing thing, and then they have the power to play better. Fine, but it's a slightly odd message to send to kids that the only way they can win this game is by playing some sort of psychological trick on them, where they think. Although they haven't, they think they've taken performance-enhancing drugs. Yeah. Now, is that the message you want to be sending to kids? I don't know.
Yeah, so they come up with the rules are essentially a win by the Toon Squad would require the Monstars to return their stolen talents, while a win by the Monstars would make Jordan the new attraction for the Moron Mountain. So it's tense. There's a lot of stuff going on. With 10 seconds left in the game, the Toon Squad are down by 1 point and one player, due to most of them being injured by the Monstars' rough playing. Even Grandma at one point gets battered. Like, you remember Grandma? I think she was Tweety Pie. Yeah, she totally gets battered.
There's a lot of, and I don't know exactly what the rules are in terms of like, to what extent Looney Tunes are indestructible. But there were certainly points in this film where some quite severe violence was dealt out, in particular to Yosemite Sam. When the Nerdlocks first arrived, and later to Foghorn Legorn, who gets
the mere mention of his name always makes me laugh.
Who gets fried extra crispy, and I was like, did they just kill Foghorn Leghorn, or can he come back from that? And like Yosemite Sam is I think he gets fried quite early in the movie, and I was like, did he just kill Yosemite Sam? A bit like how like the Simpsons movie killed Dr. Nick. But no, Yosemite Sam then reappears later in the movie. But Foghorn, I think he might actually die in this movie. I think Foghorn might die. Maybe, I'm not sure. I'll have to watch
maybe it back. He said maybe he had some historical tweets that he'd sort of get rid of him. Okay.
Foghorn. Do you know what?
Cancel.
I don't want to be judgmental, but judging by his sort of general demeanour, if there are any Looney Tunes that you would dig up some controversial tweets in their past, it would definitely be Foghorn Leghorn.
I wish I was in the land of where?
Going somewhere.
May I remind you, sir, that physical violence is tasty. Yeah. Did you order original recipe or extra crispy?
Talking about the Looney Tunes nowadays, did you hear about Yosemite Sam?
No.
So it was a recent change. As of May 2020, he is now depicted without his pistols.
Oh, and same with Elmer Fudd. Elmer Fudd can't have a hunting rifle anymore.
Yeah. So, he said apparently HBO Max's chief, or the showrunner of the TV show, said that he can continue to use cartoon violence, such as dynamite and Acme-related paraphernalia, but not guns. Very silly. So, sad day. Anyway, Bill Murray then arrives. Don't worry how, but he just does. And he's recruited to fill the missing spot, probably from Foghorn Leghorn being killed off. In the final seconds, Jordan gets the ball, and with Murray's help, he gets the final basket, because he remembers from Bugs' tutelage that he's allowed to use cartoon physics to extend his arm and dunk the ball from far away because he's being held back by Monstars. That's
an odd choice. That the way Michael Jordan wins this is not through his natural, incredible God-given skill, but by but by some cartoonish feat. Also, do you feel like Bill Murray was like, look, I will be in this movie, but I want to be shown to be really good at basketball? How good are we talking, Bill? As good as Michael Jordan.
You really got some skills. You might be able to play in the NBA. Thanks, Mike. I'll probably quote you on that. But I'm going to take this opportunity to retire from the game of basketball. No, come on. No, I'm going to retire right now, and that's all there is to it. I'm going to go out on top undefeated and untied. That's the way it's going to be. You go on ahead and celebrate with your teammates. No, come and help us, man. Celebrate with us. I'd like to, but I have to ice down my knees right away, okay? Okay, starting to go. All right, goodbye, man. All right, see you. Are you sure? Yes, definitely sure, definitely.
So he wouldn't do Ghostbusters for years. He finally does the shit Ghostbusters, but he did this as well. Someone needs to talk to his agent. Eventually, after they've won the game, Jordan helps the Monstars or the Nerdlucks realise that they only listen to the evil Swackhammer character because they were smaller. You see, it should. This meant a lot to me as a kid. Growing up, don't just listen to them because they're taller than you. You can be strong and all that.
That's a great message coming from 6'6" Michael Jordan. But anyway,
I know. Yeah. The Monstars then encased Swackhammer in a missile and sent him back to his amusement park. Giving up their stolen talent, the Nerdlucks are recruited into the Looney Tunes and drop off Jordan at his next baseball game. Still playing baseball in this world. I don't know if we saw the Nerdlucks ever again in a Looney Tunes vehicle, but maybe we did. Who knows?
As always, the level of research that goes into this podcast is extensive and impressive.
You know what? I'm going to look up the Looney Tunes wiki now. I'm going to see.
No, this will take a while. We'll cut out any dead air. Don't worry. This will be Thriller Minute listening for you. There you go. Their only other appearance to date has been a cameo in a Pinky and the Brain special, Stan Warner's, as patrons at the Cantina Bar. Nice little reference for fans. There you go.
That's it. So we never saw him again, really. Later, Jordan visits the This
is like, what was it? Free therapy. Free therapy, fine.
Jordan visits the incapacitated basketball players and returns their talent, to which the players convince Jordan to coming back to basketball. So that's how they're saying he does it. 2 years later, in 1995, Jordan returns to the Chicago Bulls and resumes his basketball career, which is sort of what happened in real life, and the rest is history. Sort of. So just other things. What made me laugh is that Jordan's real life, wife and kids, they're referenced and they're named as such in the film, but weren't played by the real people. So they got actors to play. So I just thought, so it's like his real life, as much as possible, is based on absolute facts, but this weird sort of pseudo version.
Also, how much worse would it have been if they'd got his actual kids?
I know,
because I don't want to be mean, but the kid actors who play Michael Jordan's kids,
not to do much, do they?
Not the greatest. You couldn't have done much worse getting his actual kids in.
We should probably take this opportunity to talk about Billy West as well, just because how great he is. So, well known for his voice work in various adverts, films, TV series, and video games.
I know Billy West as Fry from Futurama.
He is Fry from Futurama.
I didn't actually know he had any connection to this movie.
Well, there you go. So his other roles, he did the title characters of Doug. Remember Doug? He was Doug.
I didn't know he was Doug. Yeah.
Yeah. He did Ren and Stimpy as well, and then he played Fry, Farnsworth, Zoidberg, and Zach Brannigan in Futurama.
Wow.
He is currently the voice of the red M&M in the M&M adverts. And is it J.K. Simmons?
Well, I was just going to say, everyone says that J.K. Simmons is the yellow M&M. And every time I look into this, it seems legit, but also I can't shake the feeling that that's bullshit.
Maybe so much money to turn up and do one line every now and then.
But maybe it's one of those things where the US and the UK versions have different voice actors, because the yellow M&M's hey Red, that can't be J.K. It can't be J.K. Simmons. I mean, listeners, if you're so inclined, do our research for us that we couldn't be bothered to do.
No.
Podcast at 2geeks2beers.com. Let us know, is the yellow M&M really J.K. Simmons? Because I am skeptical. I remain skeptical.
But other characters he has sort of taken over the roles of in recent years, from the 90s onwards: Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, Popeye, Shaggy off Scooby-Doo, and Woody Woodpecker. So he is pretty much the go-to guy for any sort of voice, really, Billy West. So yeah, and obviously we said Danny DeVito as well, but that's kind of it for famous voice talent in this film. So one of the reasons the movie was a success, I'd say, was its soundtrack. Look. So it sold enough albums to be certified 6 times platinum, and for a soundtrack, that's crazy. It was also the high point, you could argue, for musical artist R. Kelly.
Certainly wasn't the fucking low point, was it?
Whose song "I Believe I Can Fly" from the film was not only a hit, but gave him 2 Grammy Awards. Now it plays right at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
So it puts a bit of a downer on proceedings.
Yeah. I watched it. The film opens with "I Believe I Can Fly." And I was like, that is a shame. That is a shame.
It is a good song. It's a very good song, but obviously times have changed. The other tracks include "Hit 'Em High," the Monstars anthem by Be Real, Busta Rhymes, Coolio, LL Cool J, and Method Man in the same song.
Fucking hell!
I know. I don't know who Be Real is, but the rest of them, brilliant.
But the rest, what an incredible rap posse that is.
No, also Barry White teamed up with Chris Rock for the song "Basketball Jones."
This is like Chef Aid, where it's like ostensibly like a very silly tie-in to some kind of silly bit of animation, but actually the talent they got involved was incredible.
And another song which I'll reference at the very end because we'll play it out with that.
Okay. Exciting.
It also, I didn't know this, expanded into a media franchise which includes comics, video games, and other merchandise, estimated to have generated $6 billion in total revenue.
$6 billion?
Space Jam alone. This includes a wide variety of merchandise such as special Air Jordans, Bugs Bunny shirts, Happy Meals, Muggsy Bogues jerseys, apparently, and it says here, whatever this means, Tweety gowns. What's that? What's a Tweety gown?
I don't want to think too much about what Tweety's got under his gown anymore after what we talked about previously. That's surely like much of that money must just be Michael Jordan selling more Air Jordans. Like
it's just Air Jordans and Happy Meals, isn't it?
Yeah. Come on.
The film received mixed reviews from critics, but it was a box office smash, bringing in over $230 million worldwide, which is pretty damn good at the time.
Yeah,
and considering the craziness of the film in general.
But do you know what the film has in its favour?
What?
Short, nice and short.
Yeah,
it's like 80 minutes long. Perfect length for a movie. Yeah. Great.
You want to know what Ebert and Siskel thought, don't you?
Always, but particularly about Space Jam.
Yeah, they both gave Space Jam a thumbs up. Siskel's praise was a bit more reserved. In his review, Ebert gave the film 3.5 stars and noted that Space Jam is a happy marriage of good ideas, 3 films for the price of 1, giving us a comic treatment of the career adventures of Michael Jordan, crossed with a Looney Tunes cartoon and some showbiz warfare. The result is delightful, a family movie in the best sense, which means the adults will enjoy it too.
I like the idea that is how this really strange film came together. That there's like 3 guys and they're like, I've got an idea. All right, hit me with it, Chad. It's a comic treatment of the career and various misadventures of Michael Jordan. He's like, I like it. Separately to that, I have an idea for a Looney Tunes movie, and then I have an idea for what was the third thing?
Showbiz warfare.
I've got a showbiz warfare concept, guys. Put those 3 hands together. Then we've got ourselves a movie.
Siskel also praised Jordan's performance, saying he wisely accepted as a first movie a script that builds nicely on his genial personality, in an assortment of TV ads. The sound bites are just a little longer.
Yeah.
One great thing about Space Jam, I'm sure you know this, is that its original website still exists.
Oh, I did know that, yeah.
Yeah. So the Space Jam official website, which if you want to go to it, is just spacejam.com, as you can have guessed. But it's very much like websites it looked like in 1996. Where it looks like one of those GeoCities websites.
I was literally going to say, very GeoCities, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if they did that on purpose or if they just left it there or what. But now they're keeping it there on purpose.
I was going to say, I think it was probably just left there for a certain amount of time, and now it's become like a website of historical importance where they're keeping it preserved.
But it's weird because you would have thought that it just wouldn't work anymore. You'd think that the provider or however they made it just would have just malfunctioned by now. You never see other websites like that. But yeah, so I highly recommend going on there and having a little look around. So a sequel to Space Jam was planned as early as 1997. As development began, Space Jam 2 was going to involve a new basketball competition between the Looney Tunes and a new villain named Berserko. Artist Bob Camp was tasked with designing Berserko and his henchmen. Joe Pytka would have returned to direct. However, Jordan didn't agree to star in a sequel, and so Warner Brothers sort of just cancelled plans altogether because there wasn't really anyone else.
These days, they would have Jordan pinned down to a 7-film Space Jam franchise contract.
Cinematic universe,
Yeah.
But there were several other potential sequels that they did think about. And this sounds insane, but I hope it's true.
Where have you sourced
this? Is Wikipedia. This is Wikipedia with lots of sources and everything. So apparently, Spy Jam with Jackie Chan was in the works, but that ended up becoming the basis for Looney Tunes Back in Action, which I haven't seen. But apparently, it's Race Jam.
All I'll say for Looney Tunes Back in Action is for a film that stars the Looney Tunes, Brendan Fraser, and Timothy Dalton. Nowhere near as good as it should be, or as good as those ingredients would suggest.
Yeah. They also thought about doing Race Jam, which with Jeff Gordon, who was a big NASCAR star. So if you thought basketball was bad enough, they were going to.
I was going to say, if you thought that Michael Jordan and basketball were a US niche, NASCAR, wow.
Yeah. They thought about doing a golf-centered film with Tiger Woods. That might have worked. But also Skate Jam with Tony Hawk.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Golf Jam doesn't really sound as good, does it? Really? But then it's not basketball jam. It's Space Jam. So it doesn't need to be.
I would have loved it if this film was called Basketball Jam. But also, what's the jam? What is the jam?
Well, yeah.
It's
just slang, isn't it?
I think of all of those, Skate Jam is the strongest concept. Not least because we know Tony Hawk is a great actor from his brief cameo in the first XXX movie.
Yeah. But then in February 2014, Warner Brothers officially announced development of a sequel that will star LeBron James. A year later, James and his film studio, obviously James has his own film studio, Spring Hill Entertainment, signed a deal with Warner Brothers for TV, film, and digital content after receiving positive reviews for his brilliant role, I've got to say, in Trainwreck. Really good in that film. Have you seen it?
I've not seen it.
It's worth seeing because LeBron James is genuinely really good, really funny in it.
Isn't John Cena great in it as well?
Yeah, he is. Yes,
yeah.
Well worth watching. Yeah. By 2016, Justin Lin had signed on to direct the film.
Wow.
And to co-write it as well. However, 2 years later, Lin sadly left the project. And Terrence Nance was hired to direct instead. And yeah, it's still going on. Earlier this year, LeBron revealed that it would be called Space Jam: A New Legacy. And it's set to come out in July next year. So
wow, so far. But yeah, the thing is, I understand that there's a nostalgia value there. That's why we're talking about the original Space Jam.
Yeah.
And that there will be a certain audience for this sequel that's coming out. How many years later?
Well, 15, I guess. Yeah.
At least 15 years later.
No, 25 years. 25 years.
Yeah. Oh, God. 25 years later.
Yeah.
But again, a question we ask a lot on this podcast, but who is it
Who's
for?
It for?
Who are you making Space Jam 2 for now? Which is...
Yeah. Well, I just hope Michael Jordan has a cameo of some description, and Bill Murray. That'd be great. Bugs, Daffy, and Lola are the only Looney Tunes so far confirmed to be returning.
What, the rest are in contract negotiations?
Well, Foghorn Legorn's obviously not quite in it anymore, so, and yes, Yosemite Sam without his guns, is there any point? Other stars coming back, though. Not coming back, just being cast in general. Don Cheadle is in the film, as is Sonequa Martin Green. So 2 really good stars there.
They've got good star caliber there. Any room for Wayne Knight?
Why not? He's slimmer now, so there must be room for him.
There might be room for him.
Yeah. So that's it, really. Thoughts on Space Jam?
Yeah. Great as a kid.
Yeah.
It's colourful, it's fun, entertaining, short. It's got everything you want as a kid. As an adult, it's a uniquely surreal experience. But still a lot of fun. Still got a lot of affection for Space Jam.
Yeah.
Load of old nonsense. Not actually that good if you really stop and think about it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's got this great legacy. It's not actually great, but but it is quite good, and it is
Yeah.
it is a lot of fun. It's a good-natured movie.
Do you know what it is? It's similar to Tokyo Drift in that you go into it expecting the absolute worst, and you come out and go, "She wasn't that bad."
Again, the only place where the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift would be compared to Space Jam is on this podcast, and that's why you should keep listening.
And if you want to watch it, it is on Netflix and Amazon Prime, so give it a watch. Why not? So that is it. So for more movie nonsense and 90s nostalgia, there's lots of it. Head over to 2geeks2beers.com, where you'll be able to stream all our previous 70-plus episodes. You can subscribe via your favourite podcast service, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Global Player, Podbean, whatever you fancy. It's on there, so give us a listen.
Yes, you can also find us all over your social media. You can't get away from us. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 2geekscast on all of those. And we also have a YouTube channel. If you search 2 Geeks, 2 Beers on YouTube, you can find a few of our earliest episodes in full. It's a way of diving into the whole 2 Geeks oeuvre, but also clips from some of our most recent episodes.
And please do get in touch for any requests, ideas, or shout-outs, whatever. You can email us at podcast@2geeks2beers.com. And we're also on Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/2geekscast, you can get some exclusive goodies on there, including some special episodes, which you can only get there, and other bits and pieces. So, to play us out, I picked another song from the Space Jam soundtrack. It's not him, don't worry, it's fine. I've gone for a brilliant cover of Fly Like an Eagle by the one and only Seal.
I thought of one along a 90s theme. Ace of Base Jam.
Very good.
Where the Looney Tunes team up with popular 90s pop group Ace of Base. Maybe enter into some kind of X Factor style singing competition against some alien adversaries.
We could do Poker Face Jam, where Lady Gaga gets involved and has to play poker and shit.
Deborah Messing and Eric McCormack starring Will and Grace Jam. I'd watch.
I would watch that, yeah. Sack Race Jam.
What's Sack Race Jam?
You know, when you run, you're in a sack and you're jumping.
Right. No celebrity affiliation with that one.
Just Sack Race Jam.
Just Sack Race Jam. Bradley Walsh in the Chase Jam.
Yeah.
I mean, very UK centric, but you know.
I'm now going down to the longest rhymes that I've got on rhymezone.com. We could do musical instrument digital interface jam.
Yeah.